Hey guys, today I'd like to take a look at a mask that is one that is from my deep storage collection. As I have said in the past, these are masks that I don't display but are in some plastic bins that I have in storage, and I thought I would pull one out and take a look at it. And I think this one's kind of interesting, and that is the 2006 Don Post Wrestler. So most of you will probably recognize this mask immediately as a version of Tor Johnson. And there's a rich history of Tor Johnson and Don Post as far as the masks go. And I won't try to give you some sort of comprehensive history on that. It is a lot of history, and it is a long relationship between Don Post and Tor Johnson and the character as a mask, and it's very difficult to sort of give a complete history of this mask. But I'll just try to give you an overview and sort of try to lead you up to the point where this mask was issued. And so obviously most people know about this mask. It's a very, very common, if you will, Don Post mask. And I believe that it's common because it was issued and available for so very many years. And so because of the long-term production on it, it has become, as Don Jr. himself has said, the best-selling, I should say, Don Post mask of all time. Now, Tor Johnson himself was originally began as a Swedish wrestler. And he was born in 1902, and he passed away in 1971. And he had made movies through 1961. He began his movie career in 1934, and continued to appear in movies through 1961. And his most famous movie, I would say, is Plan 9 from Outer Space, directed by Ed Wood. Which is a movie from 1959 and is by some considered the worst movie of all time. But this mask first appeared in the 60s in Don Post Studios, and was available for quite a few years. Here you can see a 1977 catalog page from Don Post Studios. Showing this mask, and there's quite a few pictures actually of this mask and Tor Johnson himself in Lee's book, and quite a few are available. Here you can see a Tor Johnson ad from Lee's book of the original mask, and here's a great picture of Tor Johnson with Forrest Ackerman from Lee's book, and as you can see, both Tor and Forry Ackerman had their names misspelled on the sign there. But this particular mask is also pictured in Lee's book. Here's a page from Lee Lambert's great book, The Illustrated History of Don Post Studios, showing this particular mask. And in Lee's book, he mentions that it is very reminiscent of the 70s resculpt. So again, I'm not a history expert on this mask, but apparently there was a resculpt in the 70s. This one is similar to it. So getting back to this mask, it's very interesting because, as you can see, the tag says copyright 2006, but if you look at the sewn-in tag on the inside here, you can see that it is copyright 2001 from Don Post Studios. Obviously, this is the same mask that was available for quite a few years, 1991 through, I would say, probably 2010. And what's interesting is that in 1991, here's a photo from the catalog. You can see that it is known as, in fact, Tor Johnson, just like the older masks. So 1991 through 2000, here's a 2000 catalog photo, showing this mask also as Tor Johnson. But then in 2001, it's listed as just Tor. Here's a photo of that catalog page from Pete's website at the Devil's Workshop. Thank you, Pete. And so, but in between, in 2006, this character was offered in a very unusual form, and here you can see a 2006 Don Post catalog page showing the Tor Johnson mask, which was finished in a different way and offered as a character called Cellmate. And you could see it has some unusual hair applied to it and a different paint job, and it looks like the eyes are completely cut out. So that is sort of an unusual version of this mask that was available in 2006. So I'll show you also the 2008 catalog here. Again, it's called Wrestler. And so obviously this mask was offered for a very, very long time in several different versions. And again, the Tor Johnson character is one of the most widespread and common Don Post mask. You can actually still get some of the early versions for fairly low price just because of the high quantity. This particular mask it's sort of thin. It's not one of my favorite versions. I do not actually have an original Tor Johnson mask in my collection, but I do have this one because it's just sort of strange and unusual. It's sort of an unusual version of the Tor Johnson character, and again, it doesn't reference Tor Johnson actually himself. It's just called Wrestler, and so I mean, it's fairly well painted. It is thin, but it's as you can see, it holds its shape fairly well. It doesn't have any sculpted in detail or information as far as copyright information or dates, but it does have the sewn in tags inside of the back here. So I just thought I'd show you this one. It is at once very common and plentiful, but also kind of interesting nonetheless, because it has such a rich history, and I'm sure other people can fill in the details of the history in the comments, as again, I'm not an expert on this, but that is the Don Post Wrestler. As always, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.